Okay, lesson 59. Okay, today we're going to learn how to do the equation of a line from data points. And actually this is called the best fit line, or the line of best fit. Anyway, it says the data graph below came from an experiment involving time spent researching the stock market and the percent gain for an investor. Write an equation that expresses the percent gain for an investor as a function of time spent researching. Estimate the percent gain from researching the stock market for 20 hours. Okay, so you can see it's a linear function, so of course we're going to use y equals mx plus b. First thing we need to do, if we're going to get the equation of a line, now these points are the data points, and this is the line that best represents the way that data is flowing. So what we want to do is we want to get points that are on the line, on the actual line, not these little dots. Okay, so I can see there's a good point right here, and that's 4, and then you have to look at the scale over here, so it's going to be 4, 5. And then if you look down here, like at 19, if you go up, it looks like that's a good point right there, and that's 20. And of course, we need to get the slope, and we need to get b. So to find slope, I just do the slope formula. So you do 20 minus 5 over 19 minus 4, 15 over 15, which is 1. So I know that y equals 1x plus b. I'm going to get b by plugging one of my points in, just like always. So b is going to be 1. So what we have is we have this equation that we use, y equals mx, m is 1, so 1x plus b, and b is 1. But we're not talking about an x and a y axis. We're talking about a horizontal axis of time and a vertical axis talking about percent of gain. So where my y is, I'm going to use g for gain. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to write that x. And where the x is, I'm going to use t for time. So I'm going to use t plus 1. Then it says estimate, and this is the first answer, okay? It says write an equation. Estimate the percent gain after 20 hours. So if time is 20, so you just put 20 in for t, and you get that g is 21. Now the unit here is percent, so it's 21%. That's the answer to the second part. Okay, let's look at a different one. Okay, so this one is another one, has data points, but they have not drawn the line. So you're going to have to estimate a line through there. So you're going to have to take your pencil and try and figure out, you know, a pretty good line. So you want about the same number of points to be above the line as below the line. You don't want like all the points to be on one side like that. Or you don't want to do like this, because you can tell that it's growing up in that direction, right? So let's just let's take maybe more like this or something. And my pen is sort of fat, so I'm trying to estimate the thickness of my ink there. Okay, now again we need to find 2 points. So I think if we look at this point right here on the line, that's 2065. Got that one. And maybe this one right here at 5085. Okay, then we're going to do the slope. Of course, that's going to give us 20 over 30, which is 2/3. So we know that y equals 2/3 x plus b. We're going to take one of those points and plug it in. So if I put 65 right here and put 20 for my x, so that's going to be 40 over 3. And then we want to subtract that 40 over 3 from both sides and get a common denominator. When you do that, you're going to get 155 over 3 for your b. Now again, it's not y and x, so we're not writing our final equation like that. This y is a test score, so I'll use an S for y. My m was 2/3, My horizontal axis is time, so I'll put t again for that. And my b is 155 over 3. Or you could change that to a decimal or something, that's fine too. So you can see, depending on the points that you choose, you may get close to an answer, but you're not going to get an exact answer, maybe even like when it's multiple choice. One thing that's for certain is this is 0.67, so we know that C and D are not possible answers. We know this ends up being about a little bit less than 52, so I would say this is the answer that's closest to ours. Okay? So everyone's going to vary just a little bit, so I'll need you to write down your points, show me how you calculate your slope and all that, and then I can grade yours based on, did you draw an accurate line, did you pick points on the line, and then did you do the math that was appropriate for that. Okay, now when we have these kind of equations, you've done systems of equations before, but this one has not just fractions or just decimals, but it has both. So step one is we want to clear the fractions and the decimals. Okay, so to clear the fractions here, we would multiply by the smallest number that 3, 6, and 5 go into, which is 30. And that's going to give us a negative 10x plus 35y equal to negative 18. On this one here, we're going to multiply by 100, which will allow us to move the decimals 2 places to the right. And I'll get negative 63x minus 177y equals negative 803. Now, you're not going to want to do substitution here at all. You're going to want to do elimination. And even with that, you're going to need your calculator probably. So since nothing is multiples of each other, let's multiply the top one by a positive 63 and the bottom one by a negative 10. So what I did is I just picked those two coefficients and I changed the sign on one of them, because what that gives me is a negative 630x here, and down here it gives me a positive 630x. So when I add my two equations together, they're going to cancel. Okay, so here this is going to be 22 and 5y, and negative 1134, and this is going to be 1770y, and this is 8030, and then I'm going to add these together again because these are going to cancel, and then I have 3975y and I have 6896. So divide both sides by 3975, and that will allow me to get y by itself, which is 1.73. So then you're going to want to take this and plug it into one of these original equations. Okay, and I'm just going to pick the top one. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to take this, whatever this is, and take it to the other side, right? And change the sign. So I know it's going to be positive, so I'm just going to write minus here. And when I get done doing that work, I'm going to divide it by negative 10. And that'll give me my x. And you can just put that directly in your calculator. And when you do that, you get 7.87. Okay, so you've got x equals 7.87 and y equals 1.73. Okay, so let's look at the back for just a second. I'm not going to go through another example, but we're skipping these type problems. So when you see these in your homework, you can just skip them, okay? I hope that's helpful.